Hello, my name is Brad and I want to learn how to draw. I know what you're thinking. Some of you are like, wait a minute, doesn't he already know how to draw? And others of you are saying, thank goodness he's finally getting his act together and he's learning about this whole illustration thing. You're both right. I know enough about software and technique to kind of make my way through the world. Especially if we're talking about like a cartooning technique, I know enough about how to do things to kind of pull something together that looks a little bit professional. But I am talking about like real hardcore drawing skills, and I think that's something I've always lacked. I've always fallen back on technique to help me out in that realm. Like, I'm good enough to know how to cover my tracks. I know just enough to know when something looks really, really bad and how to draw around it. For example, this is a comic I was drawing like a year ago. This part of it looks pretty good. I like panel 2 as well. And then I get to panel 3 and the entire thing started to fall apart. I drew that panel like a dozen times. Okay, 2. I only drew it twice. This sort of thing happens to me all the time and it holds me back. I'm good enough in my illustrations to get so far, but I need to be able to take that next step and I want to learn and grow. And in order to do that, I'm jumping into something I know absolutely nothing about, digital landscape painting. So that's the goal. I want to become proficient in that this year, which makes this journal entry 1 in that journey to get better at digital landscape illustration. At the end of this, I might be pretty good at it. I might continually fall on my face throughout the entire year. Either way, I think it's gonna make for a pretty entertaining YouTube channel. And if you want to learn with me, I would so love that. So these blog entries are going to be a way to share a lot of the resources that I'm finding along the way, sharing my progress. A lot of it is not going to be good. Usually I'm only showing like finished artwork that I'm proud of. This is gonna be hard. And hey, if we do this together, we could make up a hashtag. Yeah, maybe. No, I don't want my name in it. And that one's too long. What does that one even mean? Laundry detergent. No, that's the wrong year. I gotta take a rain check on this one. I'll get the hashtag thing figured out next week, maybe. What was I saying? Landscapes, they're really hard for me. So yeah, it's January 2nd, so I've gotten started on this, and the first thing that I started doing was going out and doing some research. I wanted to find a lot of other YouTubers who are already doing like speed paints, and I wanted to learn from them. I also have gone out and found a lot of tutorials and just done a ton of Googling, and I've just barely scratched the surface as far as like what is out there. It's not an area of art that I've explored like really thoroughly. So in this series, I'm going to be throwing a lot of links down below in the description. One of the guys that I've found while I was doing some research over the last week or so is a guy named Noah Bradley, and he's got a lot of videos on his YouTube channel. The one I'm going to be focusing on is one called Art Camp Part 1. It's long, it's like 2 hours long, but it's like packed with great information. To start off the year, what I'm doing is I am taking photos. I've gone onto Flickr into their like little public domain search thingy, and I pulled down some like landscape photos that I like, and I'm doing some like value studies of those. Now what this means is I'm basically breaking them down into thumbnails. There's part of me that wants to learn a little bit more about what constructs a background, so that involves penciling it out and just doing a very basic sketch of that background. And then the other part is taking colors and just kind of coming up with a black and white value representation of that drawing. And then in part 3, I'm just taking that and breaking it into like a color version, pulling some of the colors out of the photo itself and painting with those. One of the things I absolutely love about this is that when I start a piece of art, I always start it in my mind of, I want to draw something awesome so I can post it on Instagram, or so I can use the speed paint for one of my channel's videos. But in order to do that, I have to be proud of it. So I want something that's really kind of cool that I can like show off by the end of the day. And so if a piece of art isn't working for me, I never show it. Or if it's not working well, I just don't finish it. And the ones that I do finish, if they don't start off the way that I originally envisioned, or I can't quite pull it off technically, I end up falling backwards onto styles and textures and brushes and that sort of thing. And I want to get off being reliant on those things. And the great thing about this is that there is no expectation that these are going to be good. In fact, the expectation is that they are rough and they are not good. So it's January 2nd, obviously. Haven't done much yet, but like I mentioned in my last video, I am going to be live streaming some of this. My first live stream is going to be Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be doing it over on Twitch. You can kind of find that down below. So if you are drawing along at home, here's your assignment for the week. The first thing I want you to do is go and find that Noah Bradley video that I linked down below, and I want you to watch that, at least watch the first half of it. Then I want you to find time, a little bit of time, every day, half hour, to sit down and sketch and draw and find some photos and find some things and kind of do some just very basic rough thumbnails, some very basic value sketches of those photographs. The key here is getting into that rhythm, getting into the habit of sketching and drawing and practicing every day. So there we go. That was my first update. I'm going to be back next week with one of my normal videos, and I'm also going to be doing part 2, kind of a weekly update video like this one as well. And if you're really lucky, I'll even have a hashtag by then. No. All right. I'll see you next week.